What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 7, Monday Night Football. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. Okay guys, in this video, I'm going to give you my top DFS picks for this Monday Night Football showdown between the Seattle Seahawks and the New Orleans Saints. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Oh, and good news guys, make sure to stay tuned to the very end of this video because we removed the box that was popping up and blocking the lineup. So now you can see a full lineup using these picks that we made in this video if you stay to the very end. Okay guys, let's take a look at this Monday Night Football showdown between the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. So at the quarterback position, I like Jameis Winston from the New Orleans Saints playing the Seattle Seahawks, who have the 5th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Jameis Winston has averaged 18.9 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 4 rush attempts per game. He's going to be about 53% owned, projected at 16.6 fantasy points here tonight. He's 11,800 DraftKings salary. So Vegas thinks there's going to be 42 points scored in this game, with the Saints favored by 4.5. Now, Jameis Winston is considerably more expensive than Geno Smith, who's only 9,400 DraftKings salary, but Geno Smith has only averaged 10.9 fantasy points per game on the season, scoring 11 fantasy points in his first 2 games. So I don't know if I trust playing Geno Smith in my lineup. So if I'm going to play a quarterback, I think you've got some upside with Jameis Winston, who scored 28 fantasy points last week and had 6 rush attempts. So I like Jameis Winston here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. So the stud on the slate and the captain everyone's going to want to play is Alvin Kamara from the New Orleans Saints playing the Seattle Seahawks, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Alvin Kamara has averaged 18 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 18.8 rush attempts per game and 4.4 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 83% of the snaps. He's going to be about 93% owned, projected at 22.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's 12,800 DraftKings salary. So Alvin Kamara has scored 29, 15, and 21 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Fantastic matchup here tonight. So I like Alvin Kamara here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, when you're looking at the Seattle Seahawks running backs, you got Alex Collins, who was limited in practice on Saturday, but my guess is he is going to be good to go. So Alex Collins, he's averaged 9.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 9.6 rush attempts per game and 1.2 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 26% owned, projected at 9.4 fantasy points here in week 7 or here tonight. And Alex Collins is 7,400 DraftKings salary. Now, he had a good game last week, scoring 20 fantasy points off of 20 rush attempts and 1 pass target. So it doesn't help that he has that questionable tag and was limited in practice, but he's probably going to be the Seattle Seahawks back to own. So I like Alex Collins here versus the New Orleans Saints.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, so an interesting low salary, low ownership play, especially if Alex Collins is going to be limited. Take a look at DJ Dallas from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, he scored 10 fantasy points last week off of 4 rush attempts and 5 pass targets. He's going to be about 13% owned, only projected at 6 fantasy points here tonight, but it's possible he can score double-digit fantasy points here, and he's only $5,200 DraftKings salary. So I think it's interesting that he got 5 pass targets last game. So if Alex Collins is limited in any fashion here, I think you can look to DJ Dallas as a low salary, high risk, high reward play here versus the New Orleans Saints. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. The wide receiver stud on the slate is DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and DK Metcalf has averaged 18 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.5 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 44% owned, on the field for 84% of the snaps, projected at 15 fantasy points here tonight. He's $10,000 DraftKings salary. So with the Seattle Seahawks looking to be trailing by 4.5, I like playing the Seattle Seahawks wide receivers in this matchup. And DK Metcalf, he is captain material. He scored 12, 27, and 17 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like DK Metcalf here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now the other stud wide receiver from the Seahawks is Tyler Lockett, who has averaged 15.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 88% of the snaps. He's going to be about 40% owned, projected at 13.3 fantasy points here tonight. He's $9,000 DraftKings salary. I could even see myself playing a lineup with both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So I like Tyler Lockett here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, for the New Orleans Saints, the best wide receiver on the slate is Marquez Callaway, who's averaged 10.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.2 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 77% of the snaps. He's going to be about 32% owned, projected at 10.8 fantasy points here tonight. He's $8,600 DraftKings salary, and he's got a good matchup here tonight. The Seattle Seahawks, they have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So I like Marquez Callaway here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, now if you're looking for a low salary wide receiver, I got 2 of them for you here. The first one is from the Seattle Seahawks. It's Freddie Swain, and he's averaging 6.5 fantasy points per game on the season. He's averaging 3 pass targets per game, on the field for 65% of the snaps. He's going to be about 14% owned, projected at 4.4 fantasy points here tonight. He's only $2,000 DraftKings salary, and he's been getting pretty decent volume for a low salary player. He got 3, 3, and 4 pass targets in the last 3 games, scoring 2, 2, and 11 fantasy points. So you're going to hope for a double-digit performance. So I like Freddie Swain as a low salary option here versus the New Orleans Saints.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, for the New Orleans Saints, you got 2 super low salary plays here. If you want to play a guy like Marquez Callaway, or actually play DK Metcalf and then Tyler Lockett, and then instead of playing Marquez Callaway, save a ton of salary here at the wide receiver position for the Saints and go with a guy like Kenny Stills from the New Orleans Saints. Now, he scored 4 fantasy points last week, but he got 5 pass targets and 1 rush attempt. So he's going to be about 31% owned. He's on the field for 77% of the snaps, projected at 6.2 fantasy points here tonight, and he's only 1,600 DraftKings salary, so good matchup here. Looks like he could get some pretty decent volume, so I like Kenny Stills here versus the Seattle Seahawks. And even lower salary and lower ownership, take a look at Ty Montgomery from the New Orleans Saints, and he's averaging 2.1 fantasy points per game on the season, only averaging 1 pass target per game, on the field for 35% of the snaps. He's going to be about 13% owned, projected at 3.5 fantasy points here tonight, but he's only 800 DraftKings salary, so super low salary, high risk, high reward, but I think he could be interesting, although he didn't get any pass targets last game. He got 3 pass targets the game before that, put up 8 fantasy points. So I think there's a little opportunity here if you're really looking for a dart throw, a super deep sleeper. So I think Ty Montgomery is interesting just because of his low salary. And I gotta bring him up here just because he's only 400 DraftKings salary. Take a look at Chris Hogan from the New Orleans Saints. Now, he's averaged 2.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 1.6 pass target per game. So he's only 400 DraftKings salary here. He's going to get a couple pass targets. He might have an expanded role. Maybe he gets 3 or 4 pass targets in this game. But this is a super deep sleeper pick. But the way that I think these lineups are going to shape out here is you're probably going to have to roll the dice with one of these 3, at least one of these 3 low salary New Orleans Saints wide receivers, either Kenny Stills, Ty Montgomery, or Chris Hogan. Kenny Stills having the lowest risk, and then Ty Montgomery, and then Chris Hogan with the most risk. But if those guys hit, if Ty Montgomery or Chris Hogan can score a touchdown here, they're probably going to be in the winning lineup. So take a look at Chris Hogan for only 400 DraftKings salary here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, let's take a look at the tight end position. So I like Gerald Everett from the Seattle Seahawks playing the New Orleans Saints, and Gerald Everett has averaged 6.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 67% of the snaps. He's going to be about 11% owned, projected at 6.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's 4,400 DraftKings salary. And I like this play a lot because he got 3 pass targets last game, scored 6 fantasy points, and with the Seattle Seahawks trailing by 4.5 in this game, I think Geno Smith is going to look to Gerald Everett quite a bit in this one. So I like Gerald Everett here versus the New Orleans Saints. Okay, and just because of the lack of quality pass catchers for the Saints, if you're looking to save some salary at the tight end position and a guy that's going to get a couple of pass targets this game, take a look at Adam Trotman from the New Orleans Saints. And he scored 6 fantasy points last week off of 2 pass targets. But I think this play is interesting because he's on the field for 73% of the snaps. He's going to be about 17% owned, projected at 5.2 fantasy points here tonight. And he's only $1,800 DraftKings salary. So I like Adam Trotman as a high-risk, high-reward play here versus the Seattle Seahawks.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.